Spirit of the Lord to just break free from that, and we have to fight with the sword of the Spirit, it says, and with the armor of salvation, and we have to put on the formal armor of God.
I have something to say with that. That's why follow God first, everything else in place.
Right.
It's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah. There's
Some one thing, and then everything else is fine.
Yeah, as long as it's I forget the scripture, but you put God first in everything, and then everything else will follow through. Let's take a look at. There's just a. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to take note of was when we're in this Christian battle together, it's hard to fight it. The Christian battle alone is hard to fight. So it's hard to fight it alone, especially. So one thing I noticed as Christian believers, when I was going is the camaraderie. And just how incredible it was, when you train with somebody and when you kind of become brothers and sisters with people that you don't really know, right? So that's kind of how Christianity is and how this message works. You become brothers and sisters with people that you really don't know that well, and they become a huge part of your life, and you look to them for leadership and guidance, and you don't always understand why they're put in your life, and you don't understand why people are taken out of your life. But everybody that's put into your life, it's a huge camaraderie, the message, and Christianity as a whole. It's huge. And one thing, when you're in battle and when you're fighting, if your brother or your sister goes down, and if they're shot or if they're wounded or anything like that, your first instinct and everything inside of you wants to run to them and help them up and be and get them to where they need to be to fight alongside of you. So that's one thing I know that like a lot of us struggle with is like we don't run to our brothers and our sisters, and we don't look to them for guidance, and we don't lift them up and pick them up. The first thing you do when when you see somebody not coming to church is you judge them, or the first thing you do when you think somebody's fallen or done something wrong, then the first thing you do is you judge them, and that's not Christianity at all. That's not what we're supposed to be as Christians. And when in a battle, if our brother slips or our sister slips, we should do everything in our being to want to get them back to where they need to be. And I just think that's so important. There's a quote that I want to end on with Brother Brandon talks about in The Greatest Battle Ever Fought. It's really cool. You guys will laugh at this. It's about the 224th paragraph. And it says, I don't care what he's talking about fighting. He says, I don't care what size they are. It's the fight what's in the dog that counts. It's the faith in that individual. If you're a coward, get back to your cuddle hole. But brother, if you're soldiers, stand out there. There's a battle on. Right and wrong is engaged. Let's fight. Like Peter Cartwright went into a city. He said, Lord told me to come in here and have a revival. He told an old storeroom, get up in here and clean it up. And the big bully of the town, the pistol hanging on his side, walked down, got doors, some of them, and said, what's that guy doing there? Said, he's preaching. He's going to have a meeting, he said. Well, he said, I guess I'll have to go down there and throw him out in the street and run him out of here. That's all. We don't want no meetings around here. That's exactly what the devil does. When you want to do something for the Lord, he comes in and he says, I own this town, I own this city, I own this place, I own your mind, and he'll try to throw you out. And he'll do everything he can too, and he'll stand up to you too. He said, guess I'll have to go down and throw him in the streets. That's what he's doing. That's all. I don't want to place no meetings around here. So he goes down there, stomped the door, and Peter Cartwright had his coat on, and he was just washing the windows and walls down. A little bitty fella, The old preacher laughed at him, for eating chicken with his hands, which is etiquette today, So he was just washing around the windows and fixing it up. And the big bully walked over, pulled his coat back, pistol hanging on his side, said, what are you doing? Oh, he said, I'm just washing the windows, and kept on washing the window. He said, he had one purpose. So that's what the devil does. He's, oh, what are you doing? You know, like, why are you doing that little thing? And so it kind of makes you question, but you just keep on striving, keep on keeping that faith, keep on keeping on. God told him to have a revival. He's washing the windows on down. He said, we don't allow revivals around here. He said, oh, but the Lord told me to hold on to this revival. See, he just kept on out at his work. See, well, he said, there's one thing you have to understand. He said, I run this town around here. He said, oh, you do? And just keep on washing the windows, you know. He said, before you have a revival, you just have to whip me first. He said, oh, I do. Well, I'll just do that then. So he just took off his coat and walked over there, reached him by the collar and knocked him on the floor, jumped up on top of him and said, I must fight. If I should reign, increase my courage, Lord, and pound the tar out of him. Said, you got enough? And the guy said, he said yes. He got up and shook his hand and he got saved that night in church. How awesome is that? You know, sometimes the devil's just fighting or somebody's fighting in our lives and we have to just keep on keeping on. And we have to keep, he said, sometimes it might take, you know, you beating the tar out of somebody. But as long as it's in the name of the Lord, then everything's going to be okay. Praise the Lord. Yeah, as long as it's in the name of the Lord, brother. So...
You know what I feel like I need to say? Using vindication by the ghost of this.
Yeah, that's. There's one more little quote I wanted to read. It's in the same sermon. It says,